You know, he's right even when he's wrong. He's right, you know, and you can't tell him that he's not. Now, whether he believes it or not, I don't know. That's something that he only knows. But that's good to a fault. That's because that confidence will help you overcome. But it also can keep you from developing better options.
Yeah.
So that's the catch-22 of being confident. You have to be confident, but you have to be smart. So, you know, so that's something that I'd be interested in seeing how this character evolves with that. You know, because of what happened with Christian, has that affected his prior personal family life? Has that lesson been carried over? Has he tried to make any amends to any past, I wouldn't say grievances, but anything in the past that he felt, well, you know, maybe I could have done some things different? And has he went back and tried to make any adjustments to his previous? Because that would show a sense of that there was something learned, and he may have learned, but then can he do that? Because you can know that you did something wrong, but are you able to go back and rectify it? You maybe like cannot rectify, but at least have some acknowledgement and share that with the other party that you had a situation with. So I don't know if you know the answer to that yet, but that'd be something interesting in finding out. Yeah, because the situation, how would each individual react to the situation? You know, if I'm a person that feels I'm doing somebody a favor and they reacted that way, it's like it's more about what's wrong with him. But I think because of his history of trying to do certain things his way, and it always comes to a point where he hits a brick wall over and over and over again. Eventually, at some point, you have to realize, oh, why is this happening? My intentions, I have good intentions. I'm giving full effort. I'm totally invested. So why are the outcomes never the way I intended them to be? So you have to come to, even if you have a lab rat in a maze, that's how they get through the maze, because they get to the point where they stop to get tired of running into the wall. So they find their way. They may run into 20 walls, but eventually they will find a way. Just don't run into the same wall. The reason you don't quit is because sometimes you pay your dues in one thing and the payoff is in something else. But you know, you'll never get to that point, or you'll never find out unless you actually pay your dues in something.
Yep.
If you always quit too early, then you'll never know. But in the process, you're still developing a work ethic. It's like you're developing mental toughness. I believe there's a lot of stories from New Orleans that could be told that are not told, and sometimes when stories are told about New Orleans, they're too stereotypical, too cliche-ish. You know, it's too, people tend to do stories based on what they think New Orleans is. It's like they come in, they want to tell us what New Orleans is, and it's usually very wrong. Instead of getting information from people here and basing it on, if you want to tell a story about happening in New Orleans, it's a story that happened to be New Orleans. You don't have to, every story about New Orleans doesn't have to have gumbo and jazz music and Cajun food. I like the fact that you're focusing on the characters more than, because the city, if it's here, it'll be here. It'll seep into it. It'll seep into the story. You don't have to force it.
You don't have to
and
throw an alligator into it.
Yeah. And I was at UNO. I did a master thesis teaching kids about urban planning, and I chose this school, Wilson Elementary. It's in the neighborhood that I grew up in. I went there for kindergarten, but later I went to the Catholic school, which was 2 blocks down the street, St. Matthias. But a lot of my friends that I grew up with went to that school, and then some of my brothers went there at one time or another. But Because I always had in my mind what my thesis was. Because one thing I learned, and somebody told me that whatever you think your project is going to be, everything you do should be focused on that. So when it's time to do it, you got all the information. You don't have to start over. And I wanted to do something tangible. I didn't want to write a report. So I videotaped a lot of what I did, and I had a lot of interviews with people. But I taught these kids how to develop a playground on the school grounds, but I let them be the developers. I gave them the power to decide what did they want, instead of me as the adult telling them, this is what y'all gonna, this is what y'all get. I know what's best for you. I know I put the powers in their hands because they know more than I know what I want. So that was the thing that attracted it to me, because I thought about, as soon as I read it, I thought about what I had done. It clicked. So yeah, that's because I have a similar experience with what he was trying to accomplish and what I was able to accomplish. But I wouldn't have, I was a little more diplomatic about it, and I think that was a major difference in the completion. I had more resources at the time, so but I understood. But the motivation is the same. The story of these abandoned lots is a big thing, particularly after Katrina, and the fact that somebody was willing to take his own time, his effort, his energy, and his resources to do something about it without waiting on the city. Because the city, you know, because of the overwhelming amount of blight, they can't do everything. And it was a story that I've seen to a certain degree, but it was in New Orleans, but it wasn't that it was a New Orleans story. You know, you didn't go to the lot, there was crawfish crawling on the lot. You know, and then he just finished eating a shrimp sandwich, you know, and he was going to the jazz club after. You know, it was about this person that was doing this thing that happened to be in New Orleans. I think the thing is, I really cared about these characters because these were stories that I could see happening. I could see it happening. It was very realistic, you know. I can actually see somebody doing that, and I've seen similar situations like that. Maybe not specifically with a guy trying to develop a lot, but somebody trying to do something, and he's involved other people in the process, and he wants to see it through. And you care, it's like he's I guess, you know, he's a hero, maybe an anti-hero, but you know, you cheer for the hero. You cheer for the hero, particularly if the hero is he's almost like a Robin Hoodish type of hero. But you want to see him succeed. You want to see him succeed, and I want to see Grady succeed. So that was something about this film that I liked a lot about him.